I'd actually seen this thing on Facebook, just someone had just posted it up somewhere, and it just caught my eye. I had a look at it. It said film for scene stealers, and I was like, all right, had a look at it, forgot about it. But when we were sat at the meeting, we were talking about this sketch idea that we've had for a while, about getting famous scenes from films and replacing the characters with wizards, mainly Gandalf. We're going to call them the Gandalf sessions.
I'm a wizard, you know.
And we all sort of discussed it, and we realised it would benefit us massively if we did trainspotting, because we can do trainspotting because we live in Edinburgh, and that was our main advantage. We live in Edinburgh, where they filmed the scene where he's sprinting down the street, so we have the location, we can match it, and that just set off everything.
I played Gandalf in the scene.
Stop!
I think being at Princess Street at 7 o'clock in the morning dressed as Gandalf was fun for me, and I don't think it was fun for people that were going to work. I think they were just like, it's too early for this. It's way too early.
I think the role I played was Saruman. Did I get his name right? I'm not a big Harry Potter. Is it Harry Potter? Lord of the Rings fan? I'm not a big Lord of the Rings fan, so I'm a bit new on the names. I know Gandalf. Not personally, but I know him. And that's about it. Is Gandalf out of Harry Potter? Lord of the Rings?
Yes.
He is? Oh right, okay. Learn something every day. See, so.
Right.
Such a professional, aren't I?
Well, I'm quite a big fan of like Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter, so you know, getting that into like one of our little shorts was great fun. You know, people said I look like Daniel Radcliffe, so ends up being Harry.
We got the wig out at Armstrong's. We got the beard at a joke shop, and for the actual grey gown, we went into a charity shop, and Dean picked up only what I can describe as an 8-year-old's tunic or something, and turned it inside out, and I had to try that on in the middle of a charity shop. I was getting very, very strange looks.
It was a woman's dress. Did they call them dress? Are they dresses? Women's dress? I can never understand this dress and a skirt. They're all the same to me. They're all short and long or whatever. But yeah, his was an actual woman's partying gown. Quite cheap as well, really. I think I might go back to that shop, buy the missus something.
It looks okay with the beard because you think, well, there's Gandalf. You wear it without the beard and you think, that guy's got problems, you know.
The props and wardrobes day, yeah, we were all over the place with that one. I don't know how many shops we went into that day, trying to like find robes and beards. I don't know how many like charity shop people we might have scared trying to get the right costumes.
Literally didn't have any money on us that day. We literally went out with £2-3 each on us, if that. And when we got to the point of buying it, it was the case of, can you hold it for us and we'll come back tomorrow? You're talking £5-6, and they just look at you gone out.
You know, for a film, because that's what we do these days, we spend all our money on making these films. So we managed to buy the wig, and then we're like, oh, balls. We're now without money. So luckily that was the night I was getting paid. So I got paid, got everything I got paid, went out the next day, everything we couldn't afford the day before, handed the money over the tills, and there was me crying for the rest of the week, not being able to eat. But Gandalf looked good, so it worked out fine. I don't remember being hungry now, so it doesn't matter.
And then that night, I took the big fabric home, and I used my sewing skills, and I think it looked damn good.
The soundtrack is not made by Iggy Pop. It's made by Hagrid from the film, real name Kevin Fraser. Well, I basically said, look, we've got to find an alternative song to Lust for Life that isn't copyrighted, royalty free, that kind of stuff. And Kevin just said, well, leave it with me. I'll make something pretty accurate. And he came up with this thing, and he called it Lust for Rings, which sounds extremely innuendo-ish. But that wasn't the point. Lord of the Rings, obviously. And he sent me the track, and he said, yeah, I've made something, it's got no singing on it or anything. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. Listen to it, and I was just like... It's just like, you know, when you listen to something, you see a parody or listen to a parody and you go, that's hilarious how accurate that is.
I know Charlie did quite a bit of research on it and came up with the street locations. You know, he then literally watched the footage over and over again. I remember him counting how many camera changes there were in it and labelling them all and everything, so he had everything spot on. So when we was to turn up to do the first shoot, he knew exactly where we should be standing on the street.
Princes Street one was the hardest. You had to work out it, because you notice they actually did cheat it quite a lot on the actual scene yourself when you're looking at the location, because you notice they don't actually cut together as well as it looks on camera. If you saw these people running down the street as they were, they were going do and then they were back there and then they were up there and that kind of stuff. But we managed to, instead of making it more realistic, we just copied what the original film did, because that's what we set out to do. So we even like added the same. They're not continuity errors, but they are kind of in the same way. So we added the continuity errors.
And yeah, it was easier to shoot on at that time in the morning, because Princes Street in the daytime is an absolute nightmare. And it would have been we wouldn't have been able to film it because of all the problems that we had when we first got there. As
a cameraman, it was a very, very, very interesting experience. I did a lot of new things. Princes Street Day especially, because we had to do tracking shots. It's our biggest enemy, tracking shots, because we don't have a dolly or the money for one. So we can only do things handheld, or when he's available, our other cameraman, Michael Westcott, he has a steady cam on his fly cam things, which is okay, but you know, obviously we still like to be able to track properly. So we're like, we need wheels, and we said, okay, we're broken blind, what do we do best? We improvise. So we got wheels. We got my little loading cart thing that I have. I call him Magnus. It's a Magna cart. Best thing I've ever bought.
You know, it's not easy recreating Hollywood on no budget. Never mind shoestring budget.
Then we brought a bike as well, which we borrowed from Eddie Bell. And when we got there, the original concept was someone's going to ride the bike and I'm going to be sat on the back with the camera and the guys are all going to run behind me and we're going to ride down Princes Street. Everything's going to be fine. So it required balancing myself on top. It was this kind of like, you watch the behind the scenes, I have this like gay kind of like leg swinging shape because I'm trying to balance myself on my ass is what it's down to. And whilst I'm at it, Andy Sager hasn't got a seat. He's the one who got, basically he got the short straw and had to ride the bike.
Right, so if they ask in A&E what went wrong with that.
Apparently, he's not too keen on riding bikes and doesn't do it very often or hasn't done it at all, something like that. Which I wasn't told when I was strapped to him with a bungee cord and put on the back. I was only told that recently when we watched over the footage and laughed at how ridiculous the whole thing was.
I've got a bike, you ride it to feel like it's got a basket of bells and brings and things to make it look good. Give it to you if I could, but I borrowed it. You're the kind of girl that fits in with my world. I'll give you everything.
But yeah, we went for it. it was kind of worrying because, I don't know, just the fact that I was holding a very expensive lot of equipment on my hand and I was balancing everything on my arse cheeks and relying on a guy who can't even ride a bike.
Charlie's butt couldn't clench the seat tight enough, so you know, he couldn't balance on the seat properly. So we was having issues.
But after a couple of tries of that and realising it failed every single time, Jack Taylor rode in to save the day. It wasn't sunset, but you know, if it was our movie, there'd be a sunset behind his car. Drove down in a street sweeper, and then Dean rocks up dressed as Saruman to his window, and then just, you know, asks him if he wants to be our well, basically asks him if he wants to help with the movie.
Jack Taylor, the man that saved the day. Yeah, he was the saviour of that shot. He was the saviour. He drove past us and we went up to him, and I thought personally he's going to go, nah, there's no way, mate, not worth my job. He was just like, yeah, what? I'll do that. I thought, bless you. So I think Charlie went for a ride of his life. And Jack Taylor had to reverse really fast as Charlie held onto the number plate and the camera as it was reversing backwards. He saved the day. Jack Taylor, remember that name. Remember that name.
We went through a huge list of like different AstroTurf pitches. None of them gave a single like beep about about our cause. We're filmmakers. We're just trying to make something for a competition. They're like, all right, so 90 quid an hour. It's just, you don't get it. We couldn't even afford a wig. Can you just let us film on your pitch? Is it booked? No. Well, can we use it? Computer says no. It's just like, all right, fine, we'll find one. And then by sheer chance, walking, literally, it's down to, it's almost fated to be. It's like walking home from the set of the feature length. We usually walk this one direction, and Dean went, no, let's go this way instead. And we went that way, and then when we were going up the street, I just remembered there's this little kiddies playground up there, or the kiddies football pitch. And I just went, there's a football pitch this way. I went, there's one right here. And then we went up and we saw it and we went, oh yes, it's perfect. And it doesn't have security or charges or anything like that. So we ended up using that. Of course, it wasn't AstroTurf. That was the only sacrifice, and didn't have floodlights or any of that kind of stuff. But it still worked. It still had the same sort of dimensions and sort of appearance that we needed to get the scene done.
Is that what they say in Livingston?
Of course, we had to sacrifice Joe falling down on his back properly. He probably could have pulled it off a little better on the AstroTurf, but because it was cement, we didn't really want to kill the actor in the process.
Oh, that fucking hurts! I cut my leg.
The scene where, in the actual original film, Ewan McGregor, the football gets kicked and it whacks him in the forehead, and he goes, oh, like that. So obviously for Gandalf, it was funnier to go, oh, when he gets hit, with the beard everywhere and stuff. That was great. But, I'm sure they filmed it the same way as well, but it was basically Dean with the football, and he's literally just beyond where the camera frame is, so he's right next to me, and he was basically just throwing the ball at my forehead, and I think we all knew that he was going to slip up on one of them, and he did, and I ended up with a very, very, very sore face because he planted me right in the face, and that was fine. It was all for Broken Blonde,
Now the football scene, the headbutting scene, that was Joe's fault. He was meant to put his face down a little bit more, but he didn't. He put it in the way of the ball. He stopped the ball with his nose. I was completely professional and did everything to my best ability. Yeah, Joe. I've made a lot of good friends up here, and Joe's one of them. And working with Joe, he has got a comedy side to him, and he's full of ideas like myself. It's nice being around creative people that have ideas, and it's putting them ideas into action. So Joe's so on my level, and I love the guy to bits. I really do. I think he's got a good future in what he's doing. I can't fault him. There's not one bad thing to say about him. Bit camp.
Just a big broken stuff.
But, you know, I like that. He's a good lad. I love him to bits.
I chose a twat. I think Joe's Gandalf voice was very, very good. Added a lot to the scene. I mean, it was Joe's idea for that, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah.
The whole sketch. So yeah.
I like voices though. It's fun. It's better for me because I don't know. I don't think I could never act in a film, like, you know, just as I don't think I could do a serious thing. But for some reason, when it gets to anything comedy or voice changey or anything that I actually act overly different, then I enjoy. I think that's why Gandalf was great.
Thank you.
You've got to pay attention when Joe's on set. He's sneaking out little wisecracks.
Honestly, is there hair in your head?
Yeah. That's why I asked the missus to shave.
Oh, Dean.
Oh.
Dean is more of a producer to us now than we value him as an actor. Good actor as he may be, he's also very good at organising stuff. But those two together, I think they committed. They committed to the role. You know, it's not often you get a guy covered in tattoos and convince him not only to wear a couple of rags, but to tuck them into his shorts and play football with them. And then we could have got him a dress. We could have. The white cloths looked more genuine, but I really wanted to get one of the dresses we found. We did make him wear them in the shop, which was good.
What do you mean will Dean make me rich on
You. Also, we did bring Peter along. He's a big car man, obviously because he's driving. But he's really keen on his cars and stuff. And this car is his baby. It's his, you know, his precious thing. And I was like, Peter, can we use your car for a film? And he's like, yeah. What for? And I was like, so a man can get run over by it and hit your bonnet. And he was like, it's going to be on Film 4's website. And he goes, all right.
So it was raining at this point, so the bonnet was really slippy. I'm barefoot at this point, still wearing Gandalf stuff. So going over a bonnet would have been hard anyway, but that was quite hard. I couldn't get it at first for some reason. I think it's that fear thing again, you know, because I was scared because I hadn't met the bloke, Peter, whose car it was. Yeah, and I thought, you know, the guy's just meeting me and my fat arse was going over it, you know, so it's a bit strange.
It was nice of him to do that, actually, yeah. So we rolled Joe over it, or slid him across it, basically. It's pretty slippery. But we got everything we needed done in big lifesaver. And it was just one of those things where, you know, it shows up and it looks just like the car from the original film, but more modernised, and you're just like, yeah, you know, someone's given us a sign.
The whole filming of it was brilliant. People's reactions as well when they walk past you and you dress like Jesus, you know. Yeah, there was a few hairy moments. Yeah. a few old women walking past thinking, "God, is it my time already?" You know? Move on, Doc, move on.
If we didn't win the competition, we won at our own game. We wanted to make a parody of Trainspotting, the original scene, and we wanted to replace everything, and we wanted to put Gandalf in it. And that's what we got. We got each shot for shot, it's all exactly the same. I edited the thing to the soundtrack of the original to make sure it was in sync and on time. We didn't even add sounds until after I'd got the video complete. So if you want to try something out, get the our video, get the Trainspotting scene soundtrack, Choose Life, look it up on YouTube, it's there, that's the one I used. Put them together, play them together, and you'll see what I mean. They're exactly the same, except for the whole sort of, obviously Gandalf's voiceover is slightly different, but all the noises and everything, even the woo and the, you know, him laughing, are all in sync with the original. And even the captions, Gandalf is the exactly the same place where Renton was.
Well, the prize for the competition is £5,000. to make a film of some sort, and tutoring from Film 4, so it's pretty, I think, self-explanatory to the whole company what that would offer us. Definitely, I think it would be our break as such. I think the money is great, you know, because we can make something a bit, you know, better, but I think the tutoring for Film 4 is a lot more interesting because Film 4 will know our name. I think that's the main thing, if we want it. But we'll see. I think, you know, relevant to that though, I think it's a good little scene itself anyway, you know, without it winning. You know, I think it was fun. I'm glad we did it.
I mean, it just depends on like chance, you know, if this works, you know. I mean, if we get that funding, then that'll be like a huge difference. If not, then it might go a different way. I mean, hopefully as we get more and stuff out and do more videos for people and stuff, we'll get more recognition and start to do something really big.
www.brokenblonde.com. If we don't win, watch the video anyway. Get all your friends to watch it, because if it goes viral, that will help us all out massively, because we are a production crew in the end and we're trying to make a career out of this, and we need to pay rent as well as you do.
Thank you. There he is. Forget he's done that. So you know what's concerned. Aye.
I don't know why you had that like extra bit at the end. Me punching the ball, why was that left in?
Funny.
What?
It was hilarious. It was funny.